Success Radio USA's Profiles of Success is brought to you in part by the 365 Grand Club, Colorado Springs' only elite urban downtown club. Don't like having to park downtown? Don't like paying full price for great dining? Hate working out in crowded gyms? Use your 365 Grand Club card and forget all of that. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Go there today and join the club, the 365 Grand Club. And now let's join your hosts of Profiles of Success, Chuck Bader and Jerry Evans.
Thank you for joining us and being a part of this great show, Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
And I'm Jerry Evans. Always a pleasure to be here on the program, Profiles of Success. Wow, it is awesome to be here. No doubt about it.
It's a childhood dream. It literally is for me, anyway.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, mine started, let me see, I was way back in the, well, okay. We don't need to go back that
far. In the
far.
days of yesteryear.
Anyway, we do want to thank you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. You can find us by going to our Facebook page at Success Radio USA, or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would like to invite you to register with us there for free. That's right, free.
The big F word.
And you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. Now that you're one of those who take success seriously, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month. And how much exactly is that?
Less than $1 a week, $3.99 per month.
And you can have total access to our show's archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to members.
So and I have a new slogan based on your pitch here is that when you're ready to listen, we're there for you. 24/7 on demand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
Well, I like that. That's all right. That's not bad. Wow.
You remember back in the old days, right? Shows are, we're like, I'm 50, he's 60-something, not much, but 60-something. But back in the old days when television first came out, you were based on their programming schedule. If there was a show on or an annual Christmas special or something, you had to be on the same day at the same time to watch that or else you missed it. The beauty of technology is now we're there for you when you're ready to listen to it. 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you go to successradio.usa, pull up our webcast, pull up the podcast you want to listen to, and it's ready when you are.
Well, absolutely, and it's a great idea. It's a great concept, and we're so excited to have that capability that people can tune us in whatever hour or day that they would like to do that.
And it's so easy nowadays. Now, going back to the old days again, 20 years ago when I listened to Success Tapes, 22 years ago, yes, it was on cassette tapes, which were things almost this big, right?
Yeah.
And you had to carry a stack of those suckers, and you had to have a cassette tape player, and you'd run out of batteries all night, and it was a hassle. Nowadays, everything, a world of information right here on your phone, audio and video, and it's there whenever you want it.
I guess I have a question, though. When you had the cassette tapes, and then you had AM and FM radio and whatnot, was that all? Were they considered all part of the Walkman?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if I can't remember if they were separate Walkmans or if they were identical Walkmans and just one played cassettes and one played the radios.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but I remember I had one of those combined.
Yeah, our producer Tim said that he thinks that they were both separate. So
I was getting deep in it, right? Now I got fancy because at one point they came out with auto reverse on the cassette player.
Oh.
That was big at the time, man.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, search.
Well, let me tell you, I used to use I was working in radio at the time, and we used a cassette player when we went out and did interviews. So we would start the record and play at the same time, interview the source, whoever that might be,
right,
and come back and then take a cut out of it and then write a story around it so that it was on part of our newscast. So that technology at the time was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were able to narrow it down to whatever comment that we really thought was appropriate to add to that particular story. So, but now, of course, you just, and it goes, and you're done.
Exactly, yes.
I don't know if that was a good description or not.
Well, no, it gets the point across, the fact that, we are looking at analog antiquated technology, not being insulting to that, just it is what it is. But the point we're trying to make here is that the barriers to achieving what you want to in life are less and less every single year. The technology advances more often. The ubiquitousness of the information is increasing all the time. So basically, instead of like in the old days, so to speak, Tony Robbins, right, used to go to a place called Night Education in LA, and he'd have to buy the audio cassette tapes himself and then listen to them to try to get the information. So that was very, very difficult. The beauty of nowadays is that YouTube, all these cassette tapes that I used to pay hundreds of dollars for are free to you on YouTube. Excerpts of Tony Robbins and Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, it's all out there again. So the key point that we're trying to hammer home here for you is your excuses of, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, are gone, because you have the time. It's right there on your phone anytime you want to listen to it, and it's free, so there's no money involved whatsoever. So the key thing is, let's go back to the analogy of the cassette player with mine had the AM/FM radio in it, is the choices you make. And that's what used to surprise me at the post office. I would listen to Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, and I would hear my coworkers not listening to the cassette player with audiobooks. They were listening to the AM/FM radio. Entertainment 8 hours a night. And I see people who would get to retirement and not be fulfilled and kind of like, wow, what did the last 30 or 40 years go? And why am I not ready for this? And why am I not happy to transition over it? Supervisor Bob Freeberg did that one time. And it just shocked me. It's like, wow. So here's a great example. You have this source of information. You could listen to an audio cassette tape with information to teach you the skill sets to achieve what you want to in life, or you could just be entertained by whatever's on the radio. And I'm not dogging radio, but I'm saying we're just making a distinction here for people who want to be successful. This is one of the simple little choices that you make every single hour of every single day.
Well, I agree with that. And I, for our listeners out there, you might notice that we do not have a guest today. And the reason is because we wanted to get into something of a subject that kind of would hopefully be more providing a lesson or a teaching about work, and then also your life and how you can balance the two of them and become successful in whatever capacity that you can. And I think that that's really important to point that out. And we can talk about all those particular subjects as far as how do you handle your work? How do you handle your life? How do you mix the two of them together? I think it's really important that people have a balance and an understanding of what's going on.
And that's a good start. And this is where we're always trying to refresh our approach and our format and the way we do this. And so, like you said, instead of having a guest, on occasion, it's going to be Jerry and I talking about the concepts that our guests are talking about and giving more deep down details to show you, okay, so here's what our guest did, A, B, and C. Like last week, we had Bob Landry, which did exactly, I mean, the picture-perfect guest, right? Talked about all the books and all the authors. But so we want to kind of purify what they're talking about and say, so here's the exact step-by-step lessons you can go through, and here are the books you can find those answers at. That's what we want to do with shows like this, these episodes.
Okay, step one. Here we go. Everybody writing this down?
So step one is you get out a sheet of paper, and really, I mean, you think I'm joking here. You get out a sheet of paper like this, a white sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, whatever it is, and you get out one of those fat markers, right? Because the brain really picks up on font. When you look at advertising, you look at any kind of advertising, cereal box, beer can, billboard, whatever it is, you'll notice that it's not all the same generic font. The colors, the shapes, the angles of it or whatever, they all make a difference. So what I want you to do is right now get a big sheet of paper. If we're talking about step one, the beginning of your journey of success, and you get like a fat marker or a big crayon or something like that, not just a pen. This is all I have at the time, and you write down this word, and you can't see this on the radio, but the word is volunteer. See, I'm highlighting that by slowing down and volunteer. So the first one is you volunteer. You say, well, gee, okay, so I'm not really happy in my job, and I've been doing this for 1 year or 30 years, and I'm just not satisfied in my work-life balance because I don't like my work, which affects my life when I get home. So how do I change? How do I find what my passion is? How do I find myself, my big why, my big burning desire? Volunteer. That's when I started off. I volunteered within politics, within the union, and within charity fundraising. And through those opportunities, expand what you were normally doing to find out, oh my gosh, when I speak in public, when I raise money for a charity, when I help people stand up for themselves, I felt great about it. That's how you find out what you want to do, is you try things and you see how you feel about them. That's how you discover who you are.
I agree with that because I remember many moons ago about doing the volunteer aspect of life because, at the time when I first started out in radio, we actually went out and we got a number of people to come and take part in a dance-a-thon. Okay. 24-hour dance-a-thon, believe it or not.
Days, yes.
And I was working with not the Charleston. Give me a break. Come on. This actually was, believe it or not, this was during the disco area.
Oh,
okay, so it was
fever,
pretty
baby.
awesome. You know, you got YMCA, you got anyway. So there was three of us that were the DJs for this particular event, and I was one of them. And we just kind of alternated shifts and whatnot. But we stayed up 24 hours playing music, having people dance, raising money, and a lot of it was for muscular dystrophy at the time. But that was something that we didn't get paid for. It was something that we did out of the love of our own heart because of the simple fact that it was something that was fulfilling.
Right.
It wasn't just about, being a radio announcer or being this or that or whatever. It was about that fulfillment that you received by doing something that was vitally important in that at that particular time. And of course, what was really sad, though, is when we went up and they used to, broadcast the muscular dystrophy telethon on television.
Oh, loved it. Yeah.
We had to go up there and appear on TV after very little, actually no sleep,
Yeah.
and appearing on camera. That was kind of unnerving a little bit because I was thinking, look at the bags under our eyes,
Right.
but it was well worth it. And I think, volunteering is a very strong aspect that somebody should pursue in their life.
Well, it's a great way to get started because, let's say, for example, you want to get into a career field. Well, trying to get the skill sets, apply for the job, hope you get the job, be held up to performance standards, that's all tough. The great thing about volunteerism, you can dabble, and everybody's looking for any kind of volunteers, and you just dabble until you find the right organization. Then you go above and beyond, and people will compliment you on how well you do as a volunteer. Then it's not only, okay, it makes me feel great, but people are saying I'm good at it. Well, if something makes you feel great and you're good at it, you can provide value in the marketplace to pay you for because you're benefiting them. So what I want you to do right now is get down that pen and paper we talked about before, and you're going to hear our producers here and our sponsors. So you want to write down their name of the company, the phone number of the company, and the website of the company. And when you need the services, boom, give them a call. We'll be right back.
Success Radio USA is always looking for ways to help you succeed. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement or sharing practical information that can give you the competitive edge. So you'll want to pay close attention to this. Our new sponsor, the 365 Grand Club, can give you the edge when conducting business in downtown Colorado Springs. You might want to entertain a potential client or just show appreciation to a loyal business partner. Either way, your new 365 Grand Club card is your passport to downtown Colorado Springs. Your club card gives you access to discounts, business perks, making new business connections, and the convenient private concierge service that makes getting around town hassle-free. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Get yours this week and join the club, the 365 Grand Club.
It gives clarity to problem solving. It increases production and focus on the job. It alleviates sleepless and restless nights and fends off stress and tension headaches. No, it's not the latest energy drink or health supplement. It's Legal Shield. Get peace of mind every day, every night, now and forever. Legal Shield. Get it.
To find out more about Legal Shield and how it can protect your family and your business, call Andrea at area code 719-243-3174. That's area code 719-243-3174. Legal Shield. Listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is committed to helping you achieve a positive daily approach to your success each and every day. Thank you for listening.
Success Radio USA.
Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
And I'm Jerry Evans. A pleasure once again to have you back here on the program. We delved into a few things, and we're going to get into those in a more concrete fashion here. But first of all, we do want to thank you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. You can find us by going to our Facebook page at Success Radio USA or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would invite you to register with us there for free, and you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. So now that you are one of these people who take success seriously, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars. It's $3.99 a month. Come on.
That's in a cup of coffee, dude.
Chicken feet. And you can have total access to our show's archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to our members. Boom.
There's no reason not to be tuned into this kind of stuff, right?
I've had
Support the station that supports you. There you go. That's passion. I love this. But let's go back to your early example. So we talk about indicators of passion. You know, what are you made for? What is your natural self? Things like that. And one thing you pointed out was with a 24-hour dance marathon, you had to have unusual energy to do that. Let's make a comparison. Let's say you're in a job that you hate. And
I was also in my 20s at the time, so.
Well, and that does help, but to a point. But so when you're doing something passionate, whether you're in your 20s, 40s, or 60s, if you're doing something you love, it is interesting and it is self-intrinsic, although that's a little redundant, but it's just the fact that what you're doing feeds you more energy than you would have otherwise had. And so when you're looking for, and again, the first step is you got to find out what you love to do in life. And it's not just one thing, it's just several things that are interrelated, especially nowadays. But one of the indicators that you're doing something you love is you will have energy from that activity that you would not have in an activity that you don't like. And you saw that staying up for 24 hours.
Well, you're right about that. And all joking about, aside about them being in the 20s, that really has little to do with it outside of the fact that, it may be easier on you physically and whatnot, but as far as the overall fulfillment of it, I think that's what you have to look at. And did it fulfill what you were hoping to achieve? And I mean, I was really excited because I had just started in radio at the time when they came along with this big thing, and I was like, wow, what a showcase, this is unbelievable.
Right.
So when we had it came off really, really well. I won't tell you one of the things that I did to raise money because we won't go there. At the time, it was very, very naughty to do one of those things. But today they would call it non-PC.
Exactly.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun and we enjoyed it. But overall, when you look at the things that you have to do in your life, and that was just for me. It was like it was balancing the work and the life because for me to be out there in front of the people, and at the time. And all I could think about was, I wanted to do anything and everything I could to become well known. And that was kind of my motivation. And when I look back on it from a personal point of view, I kind of thought about that for many, many years after that. That was my purpose in doing that because I just really wanted to help raise money for muscular dystrophy, or was there an alternate reasoning behind it? And it was a combination of both,
right?
Because I really wanted to get the notoriety, but I also wanted to make sure that we did as much as we could for this wonderful charitable organization, and hopefully in the fight against muscular dystrophy. So it panned out that both goals that I had set for that particular item or event came true. And that's what I thought was really, really great about it. And I think for a lot of people, if you can get that balance,
right,
that's what's really a big key.
It is, and we're going to transition in segment 3 to the difference between balance and fulfillment between work and service. But like you said, that was something that just really fulfilled you. It was beyond the money. I mean, you probably would have done it for free, but, fortunately you got paid for doing something you love. That's the ultimate goal. But you are looking for those things that make you feel good. The epiphany moment, probably the biggest epiphany moment of my life, when people say, well, how did you know that you wanted to do this certain thing? For me, it's public speaking. And when I heard Ziegler and all those guys, I thought, how cool. These people are paid to talk to groups of people around the country and around the world, and they make a living at it. I thought, wouldn't that be cool to do that someday? And so I always kind of wanted to think, well, could I do that? Is this something I'd want to do? And one day I was doing political volunteer work, and it was like a 14-hour day. I'm upstairs in my home, right, in my office, and I was so exhausted, literally, I thought, how am I going to have the energy just to slink down the stairs to the basement to go to bed? That tired that I couldn't let gravity assist me. And as I'm sitting there trying to get the energy up just to go downstairs, I get a phone call. And it was the president of a local union who said, hey, Chuck, we're speaking at a college this afternoon. We'd love you to be a speaker for about a half an hour. And by the time the phone call was over, less than 2 minutes, I had enough adrenaline and whatever chemical in my body to where I was not only fully awake, but I was fully energetic. I was to the place in 45 minutes, did my half-hour speech, and when I got back, 3 hours later, I could not go to sleep. So to me, that's something telling me my body says, yep, Chuck, this is what you're made for. So then there's no question about, yep, public speaking is one of my things.
Well,
and your body will tell you that. Your body will tell you that.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I think that that's something that many of us can take into consideration, because of the fact that when you go out and somebody approaches you about something that you are passionate about, you're going, wow, I can do this. Yeah, yeah, I've got the energy for that. No problem. And like I said, that's one of the reasons that we did the dance-a-thon, is because I had the energy to do it. I really wanted to do it for those aforementioned reasons. But overall, when you look at it from in any kind of business field, any kind of volunteer situation, you have to look at it and say, am I going to feel fulfilled with this?
Yes.
And once you do that, then you realize, man, I can do this. This is great. This is what I'm designed for. This is what it's all about. And one of the things that when you look at it, I wish I could have maybe backtracked many years ago, because when I went to college, I had an opportunity to further my education. Never did it, and I always wondered about what that would have been like, because then at that particular point, I think once I completed that education portion in my life, I might have pursued a career in politics.
Okay.
Because I had many people that said, you might be a really good candidate for politics.
Exactly.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Jerry Evans?
Right.
No way. But when I look back on it, my interest, my inner strength was about, issues that affected people, issues that affected the country, the local community, whatever the case might be. And it sort of dawned on me, maybe they see something that I've never even realized I had.
Yes.
And that's something that if I were looking back on it, instead of doing what I did,
playing it safe.
Playing it safe.
Right.
I should have maybe pursued that on, and who knows what the future would have held.
Or, in your case, may still hold. You're never too old. If you're breathing, it's not too late. And let's go back to
my campaign manager here,
Let's go back to Grandma Moses, right? She always wanted to paint, but she had to be practical, play it safe by working on the farm. Didn't start her painting career until age 70.
You've mentioned
Didn't sell that $100,000 painting until age 110. 40 years of practice starting at age 70. So it ain't over until you stop breathing. Bottom line.
I know. I realize that. And you're absolutely right. It's a situation where you look back and you go, as far as being a candidate, like if I were to think about, well, I want to run for office now, I think one of the detriments would be the fact that I don't have a bachelor's degree or master's degree and whatnot. But that shouldn't be a deterrent. But somehow, when you look at the way people view educated people, if you want to call it that, they look at it and they say, what about the sheepskin? And I think it deters a lot of people from maybe pursuing a life in public service.
And it probably does, but this is where we like to share examples on the show about qualifications. Let's look at Tony Robbins, right? Tony Robbins does not have a high school diploma, yet he employs people with PhDs. Hey, what's going on there, right? So never let those obstacles hold you back.
Checks.
Well, he writes checks because he provides value in the marketplace. Nobody ever went to Tony Robbins and say, well, show me your certificate. It's like when Tony's teaching the fire walks, whatever he does, they're seeing the value in that. They're not always checking credentials. So don't let that hold you back. Please don't let you hold that back.
Okay, I'm announcing my candidacy.
Hey, but that's the thing that's the point we're trying to make here, is that you're going to feel on the inside. It's not just for a paycheck. It's because you love to do that. And the paycheck is what helps you support and expand upon that. So like Jerry and I are talking about here, we found things that we just love to do because there's something about that gets inside you and says, you can provide service or you can provide value to the world. Do it. And then find a way to get paid for it so you can keep doing it.
Yeah, that's the nice part, because you do want to have an opportunity to get paid for certain things that you'd like to achieve in your life. Because, when you look back on it, if you have a certain talent and an ability to do things, you should be rewarded.
Right, yes.
You share that talent with other people, other organizations, and a lot of times people, downplay their worth.
Oh,
Just like I did in politics.
Yes.
Who knows?
Right.
So when you go back and wonder about it, and I could share a story about exactly why this all came about, and we could do that maybe in the next segment if you'd like. But
sure.
That would be something that where there was a revealing moment to me.
Those are always huge.
And wow, when I think back on that, I was totally blown away by this, I guess, revealing statement that was presented to me. And I'm going, this can't possibly be true. But there was a belief there that I didn't have in myself, but it was coming from other people. And so we could share that in the next segment if you like.
This man just set up the best teaser to make you come back and listen to segment 3 I've ever heard in my entire life.
What was it?
Well, it's about everything. It's about the revealing moment, about the lack of belief, about your lack of self-perception. That's the target of what this show is about today. One of the books we're going to reference is Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz, written back in the 1960s. Get a copy of that, Psycho-Cybernetics, because that talks about something you could have benefited from at the time. You still can now, but had you known it back then, it would have given you the tools to get the self-belief to achieve what they were telling you, whatever that mystery statement was, that revealing statement, to give you the confidence to and the courage to move forward on it. Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics.
Okay. So with that, we're going to take this break here. So make sure you write down the names and the phone numbers and the websites of all of our wonderful sponsors. We thank them for being a part of the program, and we thank you for listening here on Profiles of Success.
Success Radio USA is always looking for ways to help you succeed. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement or sharing practical information that can give you the competitive edge. So you'll want to pay close attention to this. Our new sponsor, the 365 Grand Club, can give you the edge when conducting business in downtown Colorado Springs. You might want to entertain a potential client or just show appreciation to a loyal business partner. Either way, your new 365 Grand Club card is your passport to downtown Colorado Springs. Your club card gives you access to discounts, business perks, making new business connections, and the convenient private concierge service that makes getting around town hassle-free. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Get yours this week and join the club, the 365 Grand Club.
Is your business on Facebook? Are you frustrated with how your website performs? Do you have a focused and measurable marketing plan? Are you struggling in executing your marketing plan? Well, tune in every Tuesday to the Mad Marketing Show and learn from the people who are actually making it happen. The internet is a convoluted and busy place. Learn how to cut through the noise with the Mad Marketing Show. New episodes air every Tuesday on Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Find us on Facebook at Mad Crane Marketing and post your digital marketing questions. You can find us on SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and iTunes by searching for Success Radio USA or The Mad Marketing Show. You can also visit us on the web at madcrane.com to learn more.
Listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is your source for inspirational, motivational, informative, and life-changing daily content. Thank you for listening.
Success Radio USA.
Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
I'm Jerry Evans, and thank you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. You can find us by going to our Facebook page. At Success Radio USA, or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would invite you to register with us there for free, and you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. Now that you are one of those who take success seriously, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month. That's right, $3.99 a month, in fact, and have total access to our show's archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to our members.
Absolutely.
Well,
so now let's go back into the book we talked about before. It's a little tricky, but, write it down. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz.
Psycho-Cybernetics.
Yes, it talks about the internal workings of the mind and the belief system. So let's go back to how the book could have helped you in that situation. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. It held me back for years. But you will have a set of references of identity. And there are a lot of great books, a lot of great examples about identity, about you have to make sure that you are in line with your identity. Therefore, let's go ahead and hear that revealing statement to see what it was that someone said to you that caused you to doubt your ability to carry out what they thought you could do.
Okay, I'm in the media. Mm-hmm. I'm interviewing a local official.
Okay.
Happened to be a county commissioner at the time. So what his item that he was presenting to everybody was the fact that he was going to retire after this particular term of office, and he was not going to seek re-election. And I said, oh, wow. I was the only media person that was there. I don't know why it came out that way, but it was simply maybe it's the fact that he wanted to, reveal this to everybody by one media source first and foremost, and then reveal it to everybody else afterward.
Right.
Nonetheless, I had an exclusive at the time. So I was pretty amazed by that. Anyway, so during the course of the conversation, we talk about whatnot as far as his wanting to get out, and he wanted to just go ahead and pursue because he was a lawyer, and he wanted to just pursue everything as far as from a personal standpoint. Felt like, it was time to stop his public service. So once he made that statement, I said, well, That's kind of interesting. I said, but you realize you're in my district? He goes, yeah. I said, so maybe what I should do is throw my hat into the ring and run for your particular office. And I started laughing. And he looked back at me, totally deadpanned, and said, if you do that, I'll be your campaign manager.
Wow.
I said, what?
Right.
You got to be kidding me.
Right.
And he said, no. He says, I think that you have an understanding of what goes on in politics. You have an understanding of what goes on with the issues that are facing the community. He said, that's why you're here now, is because I know that you're going to present it in the proper manner as far as when we release this as a news statement.
Right.
I said, well, thank you. That was incredible to hear all that. So I didn't think much more about it and everything. I said, I'm in radio. This is what I'm scheduled to do in my life. This is what I studied for. This is what I really wanted to be, was an on-air personality, disc jockey, news person, sports person, whatever the case might be. This is what I'd prepared myself for. Well, lo and behold, about a week later, I get a call. Next thing you know, I'm having lunch with the chairman of the party that was affiliated with him at the time, and he's sitting me down over a cup of coffee and saying, so, are you serious about maybe running for office? I said, what? What are you talking about?
Right.
So, well, we got word that you might be interested in being a candidate for this particular office. I said, I didn't really think I was going to do that. No. He said, well, it was brought up at one of our meetings that you might be somebody that would be a viable candidate to run for this particular office. And just shocked the living daylights out of me, because I never, ever would have imagined that.
Right.
And then I got back and I was thinking to myself, one of the things that I really enjoyed about college, even though it was a junior college, I loved political science. Absolutely loved it. And I remember we opened the book in that first class, and I see the page in that particular book that says it was talking about the inauguration of the president,
right.
And it had a picture of the president going down the street, and it was a current event, and it was in our political science book, just like that. And I'm going, this is amazing to me, because I cover this stuff all the time. I talk about politics. I talk about issues that are facing the local county, the local state, whatever the case might be. And it was amazing to me to sit back and think, here's people that actually respect my work enough to feel like, maybe you should be in the political arena and not reporting about the political arena.
Right.
And I was really amazed.
Yeah.
Why did I chicken out? That's what Tim just asked me.
Right.
Honestly, at the time I was young. I was younger, I guess I should say, but I just felt like at the time that I wasn't suited for it. I thought, had I gone on and pursued my education rather than gone out to I actually became a general manager of a radio station out in Nebraska, and had I pursued the separate travel, the separate road, who knows?
Right.
But I chose to be a manager of a radio station because of loyalty. And I thought, this might be something that I could really do and be successful at.
Right.
Later on, I went to work at the post office.
Right. So, I mean, let's rewind that again, because this is what this show's about. Because what you've done, something I've done, and everybody out there has done. Oprah Winfrey defines the word luck as when preparation meets opportunity,
right,
and you achieve that, and it's luck. But in your case, and I've done it before, a lot of people we'll have opportunities like crazy. There's no shortage of opportunities, but there's a lack of preparation. And what you had at that time was a lack of the mental preparation to accept the opportunity when it was dropped in your lap. Honestly, I mean, they're taking you out to lunch, they're buying you coffee, they see in you what you didn't see in you. So the kicker is that had you just read that one book, and this is where we want to break this down into very simple terms in the show, is you think you have to be born like a Tony Robbins or born like Zig Ziglar. Well, how did they do it? Tony Robbins wasn't born that way. The man read over 500 books in a 6-year period on human psychology to get the skill sets that he has now to take to the marketplace. Zig Ziglar was not born that way. He was a lousy salesman at one point until Mr. P.C. Merrill sat him down after a seminar and said, Zig, you have much more potential than you're displaying here. You have much more capability than you're showing here. And after that one day, Zig was ready for the opportunity, and he became number one salesman 1 year later. So we look at a Zig Ziglar versus Jerry Evans, and Ziglar just happened to be ready at the time the opportunity presented itself in that situation. Boom, it launched it for him. So how do you get ready for that? Well, you realize what is called the self-image. So everything is about identity, right? And let's be very respectful of mental health, because I'm very respectful of mental health. The brain is an organ like the heart, like the lungs, like everything else.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't work right. Okay. So the example I want to make here is think of somebody with what you would call multiple personalities. And multiple personalities in people who suffer severe trauma, it's so extreme that eye color can change, diseases can be healed, gender identities can become confused in the mind. I mean, identity is that strong. And for somebody who had to develop multiple identities to survive a traumatic situation, shows you the ability that we have in those situations where you don't have trauma to at least change yourself enough to believe you can become a political director or political candidate or run for office just by reprogramming the mind. So how do you do that? Maxwell Maltz, a surgeon at the time, we used to do plastic surgery on people, and he was surprised when he would do a nose job or facial or whatever it was, and people would get out, and the person who had a surgery and by visible, photographic evidence could show there were changes, would get out and say, it looks the same to me. Because they hadn't changed their identity themselves. They were still putting together pieces of the old picture with the new face, and it did no good for him. So when he did this, he thought, my gosh, there's got to be something deeper here going on. Then he got into understanding the mind and the concept of identity, and that's how he wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, which we need to get you a copy of. But the point being is that, so how do you change your identity to be able to accept the person you want to become? And let's break this down into the story of the eagle, all right? One of the early stories I heard. But there was an eagle and a mom eagle and a baby eagle flying around. Somebody shoots the mom eagle, the baby goes flying to the ground, crashes, and is falling among chickens. The baby eagle is raised around chickens and sees the chickens, does the chickens do, and at one point in time thought he was a chicken until he went to get a drink of water and sees himself in the reflection and sees a bird above him and happens to notice that's an eagle. The eagle lies down, picks the chicken up, they go on to be what they should have been. But that's the thing, is that you probably should be a political candidate. You probably should run for office because your internal feelings make you say, this is how I want to serve the world. This is what I'm good at. This is what I care about. This is how I can improve people's lives. So you probably should still be a political candidate. It's never too late, you know?
My
you
goodness.
have to change your identity. You've got to change your identity.
Well, when you put it all like that, you know, it makes it seem like it's very achievable.
It is very achievable. Gee whiz.
But you got to have the guts inside.
Yes, you got to have the guts. Now, the guts is a Grand Canyon leap. Chicken guts, but it's a Grand Canyon. Too many
Eagle
people
guts.
they have to go from like one side of the Grand Canyon to the other. Nobody does that. Everything, it's a little gradual step by step process. And one of the first steps is get the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Because in Napoleon Hill, he talks about the burning desire, which is intrinsically who you want to become. And then he kind of gives you steps of how you create that identity. He has a great example, and I forget the guy's name, who went to work for Thomas Edison. The guy knew he wanted to be a partner with Thomas Edison, not employed by Thomas Edison. He gives everything up, hops on a train, goes out to where Edison was, and he said, Mr. Edison, when he first met him, I'm going to be your assistant. Edison looked at all his other workers and said, no, you're going to be one of my workers. And I think in 3 years, he becomes Edison's partner, you know, because he had saw that, and he had programmed that. That's who I am. That's my burning desire. That's what I'm going to be. I'm going to take whatever action for as long as it takes until I become Edison's partner. And he did. Because he had to believe in himself that I'm going to be Edison's partner. That's my identity, Edison's partner.
I believe you're right.
So, yeah, but that's a big part of it. You've got to be able to change your identity because you cannot be in conflict with yourself. You cannot be thinking that you're going to be one career path and yet working another career path. That's called insanity, you know? It's like, I want to be this public speaker, but yet I'm working at the post office in my case. Well, I couldn't keep doing those. I finally had, in my revealing here, had to resign from the post office and take that chance. So at some point, you've got to put enough belief and courage and identity by reprogramming yourself through one of the tricks is affirmations. Now, we're going to program you to our sponsors, so get out your pen and paper, write down, we got plenty of time here, 30 seconds. We want you to listen very carefully to our sponsors. We want you to get out a piece
real
of
slow,
paper.
Chuck.
We want you to write down their names and their phone numbers and their websites. And when you need their services, you call them before
He's
you
a
call
silly
somebody
man.
on the phone book, because you want to support this show because we support you, and this network supports the Listen Foundation on Profiles of Success. We'll be right back.
Success Radio USA is always looking for ways to help you succeed. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement or sharing practical information that can give you the competitive edge. So you'll want to pay close attention to this. Our new sponsor, the 365 Grand Club, can give you the edge when conducting business in downtown Colorado Springs. You might want to entertain a potential client or just show appreciation to a loyal business partner. Either way, your new 365 Grand Club card is your passport to downtown Colorado Springs. Your club card gives you access to discounts, business perks, making new business connections, and the convenient private concierge service that makes getting around town hassle-free. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Get yours this week and join the club, the 365 Grand Club.
This week, my name is Harley Mitchell. Next week, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll use your name. You see, I'm a cyber criminal, and I steal information that defines who you are. Things like your driver's license number, your birth date, your home address, your office address, your social security number, your medical information, insurance cards, business licenses, and if I can get it, your birth certificate. If I can get one, I can get the rest. It's not personal. It's just business. Once I have your information, I bundle it with others and I sell it. Not just once, but over and over and over and over and over.
Due to recent massive data breaches, your personal information is now available for cyber criminals like Harley to buy and sell to their underworld counterparts for profit. Bad people with bad intentions hiding behind your identity. Don't be fooled and lock down your financial life. Use the professionals that Fortune 500 companies use, ID Shield and Legal Shield. It costs less and reaches further. Don't lock down your life. Call Andrea Wacker and get the right protection for the right problem. Andrea Wacker is your Lady of Justice. Call now at 719-243-3174. That's 719-243-3174.
Hey,
Hey, this is Megan, Cindy,
and Sammy,
and we are the Success Radio USA singers. Thank you for listening to Success Radio USA.
Success Radio USA.
Welcome back to Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
I'm Jerry Evans. Things are just flying by here on the program. We're just having so much fun, kind of interesting, and we're going to pursue a few more things here before we close out the show. But first of all, we do want to thank all of you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. And remember that you can find us by going to our Facebook page at Success Radio USA or by going to our website at successradio.us. We'd like to invite you to register with us there for free, and you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. So, now that you are one of these wonderful people who take success seriously, you can... Would you quit? You can
I get excited.
Sometimes I just can't finish this because you interject those little voices there.
That's why people watch Chuck trip him up again. Yay.
Anyway, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month, which is how much?
$3.99 per month, less than $1 a week, half a cup of coffee. You could do it.
Wow, unbelievable.
Yes,
and have total access to our show's archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to members. Come on, guys, get signed up for that. I think it's a great idea. It's not just about, hearing the program. It's about you have that access, that opportunity. Right. There's that word opportunity. How about that? To enjoy these programs and hopefully get a certain learning benefit from it.
Yeah, huge, yes.
Yeah, that's our purpose here.
So when you're ready to listen, Profiles of Success is there for you 24/7 on demand.
Wow. What a great slogan.
I think it is. It just kind of came out naturally. But let's get back to you and talking about your situation, which is like mine was at some point, and everybody's is that, lack of preparation for the right opportunity. Opportunities are there as much as the air is, as much as the sun is, as much as the water is. It's the lack of preparation that a lot of people miss out on. So in your case, again, getting the right identity would have helped you to say, well, you know what? Based on my past and my lack of a formal college education, here's A, B, and C why I can't do that. And it stopped you. I'm not dinging you here, but I'm just saying your story is so common for 97%.
Well, you're right about that. There's no doubt about that, because a lot of people have shared similar situations, not necessarily about politics, but about thinking about, well, here's the opportunity, but I can't really pursue it because they go on and on and on, and they come up with all the negative issues.
Yes.
And I think that probably is what happened with me.
So here's a little tip for you, right? You may want to get a piece of paper. This is profound knowledge. Zig Ziglar would call this profound knowledge. And
I thought this was Chuck Bader knowledge.
Well, this is Chuck Bader, but it's profound as Ziglar would do it.
Here we go.
So here's the thing you want to write down. Instead of talking myself out of things, I'm going to learn how to talk myself into things. It's not easy. So let's look at advertising, right? There is no stopping advertising nowadays. Whatever your media source is, people trying to sell you something out there, advertising all the time. They're putting the little subliminal messages in your brain, and at some point, if the message is right and the timing is right, you're going to take action. Well, how about you advertise for yourself? Do you know what they call those, Jerry? Affirmations. People think you're insane to stand in front of a mirror and say, you know what? I'm a fantastic service person. I'm going to provide excellent service in the world today. I'm going to protect people's homes and cars and lifestyles because I'm an insurance advisor. I am one of the best because I choose to be. I choose to serve people. You tell yourself that every single day, and at some point in time, your brain is going to believe it. And when your brain believes it, then when you have an opportunity to become a political candidate or an insurance advisor, you can accept it. That's one of the simple things that people miss. They'll get the opportunities, and then they'll list all the reasons why I can't do it because A, B, through Z or whatever,
Well, interestingly enough, I can cite another example of how I translated that positive energy.
Okay.
And many years ago, here on a local basis in Colorado Springs, they were doing a bowling show on television. Now, you know that I'm an avid bowler, and I have been for many years and whatnot, and have always been multi-successful with bowling and whatnot. But anyway, along comes this opportunity where they are talking about doing a bowling show on television. And I happen to see this flyer, and I'm going, that's interesting. I wouldn't mind being a part of that. So I went down, and when they were getting ready to do the first show, prior to that, I had met up with the guy who was heading up this whole particular event. And he said, come to the first tournament and we will see what we can do. And lo and behold, I didn't realize what he had going on in his head. And he was presenting me with an opportunity that I had no idea was coming my way.
Right.
And so what happened was I show up and he was telling me, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try and, maybe squeeze you in here a little bit. I said, all right. So I just waited patiently. What was going on? Well, we had this thing and that thing. He says, well, now don't worry. The host is going to be here in just a little bit. I said, okay. Well, all right. I just kept waiting because I wanted to talk to the guy and kind of get a feel for what he was doing and how he was going to approach the show. A little bit later on, hey, no worries. He'll be here just real soon. Well, we got down to the time of the taping of the program, and he comes up and he goes, he's not going to be here. You're on. I said, what? You got to be kidding me. Well, it turns out that the way I looked, the way I sounded, and the fact that I was an avid bowler, he was thinking, this might be the perfect candidate to do this particular job.
Oh, yeah.
It turned into a 3-year stint.
Oh.
I made some money doing it. Not that that was the most important thing, but the notoriety of being able to be a part of that. And boy, I could sell that program. Oh my gosh, I loved it because it was all about something that I was passionate about at the
we
time.
see the theme here, folks. Passion and fulfillment.
And it felt so good to be a part of that. And when people would come up and they said, oh, I just love that last program. And then what you said about such and such and such and such, and then you had that dumb little joke that you said on the radio or on the television. Those things are something that you kind of bank in the back of your head, and you're thinking, this was something that I was meant to do.
Right.
And as you well know, I'm also the announcer for the Pikes Peak Marathon and the races that go on during the summer. In fact, we have the Garden of the Gods run coming up very soon. Well, that was just sort of dumb luck.
Right.
They kind of fell into my lap. So when you look about those opportunities, sometimes you say, I'm perfect for this.
Right.
And then other times you go, I'm running scared.
Right.
And that's probably what took place with the political situation is I ran scared.
Well, let's look at a couple different things. So when you think of the bowling situation, and think back about this, only you can answer this question, but had they had the opportunity to explain to you and ask you the question, Jerry, would you like to do this? You may have talked yourself out of it. Maybe not, but you may have talked yourself out of it.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have. Not that one. No.
Okay, so then you knew that's even better for you than politics at that time. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a clear-cut case that once I saw the flyer, I approached them and said, is there any way that I can be involved with this?
Okay.
I'll do the statistics and whatnot. I'll get behind the camera if I have to, whatever the case might be. And so when I talked with the gentleman that was running the program, I guess he had determined that he didn't really want the other guy, didn't like the other guy, and wanted to replace him. So he never even contacted him, and I never knew it until after we did the first program.
But let's look at your example here. So politics, you knew you kind of wanted to do it, but you weren't totally certain about that. Bowling and doing the announcing thing, there was no way it was going to stop you. So let's look at two examples of two very famous movie producers, Walt Disney, Steven Spielberg. When Disney first started off, he knew he wanted to be in animation so bad, he would do whatever it took for as many hours as it could, no matter what the conditions were. And back in the old days, they had what are called cellulite, where they would draw the animations on to film those to make the movies, and he couldn't afford to buy those, so his boss gave him old used ones. He kind of cleaned them up good enough to make them work, but the point was he didn't say, well, it's got to be perfect or I'm not going to use it. He would use whatever he could to do what he had to with that.
Well, of course, the cellulite today is removed by a plastic surgeon, right?
Exactly, yes. That's kind of a different cellulite, I guess it was, yes. But then Steven Spielberg, wanted to be in the movies. The man snuck onto the movie set day after day, and he got so well known by people. He saw an empty trailer, he put his name on it, and they thought he belonged there, and he just kind of fit in. So, but the point being with your bowling thing, nothing was going to stop you from pursuing that opportunity. That's when you know the passion is even stronger in that field than it was politically at the time.
And same holds true for the Pikes Peak Marathon. When it came about, I went down and I talked with the gentleman. He actually called me out of the blue. I had no idea that this phone call was coming. I went down there, and after visiting with him for about 45 minutes, next thing you know, I'm the race announcer for the Garden of the Gods, for the Pikes Peak Ascent, Pikes Peak Marathon. And I looked back at him and I said, do you want want me to give you like an audition tape, something that says, yeah, you're really qualified to be able to do this. And he just looked back at me. It was sort of the same situation that had happened with the bowling show. He said, no, he said, I think you'll do fine. He says, I like what I see. I like what I hear.
Right. Well,
who would have thought that?
But let's look at this too. So there's two ways to look at things: your perspective versus the marketplace perspective. Like you did the bowling show. Now, if you would have been in your head and said, "What do I have to do to be good at this? How am I going to entertain the audience?" Blah 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 blah. You were just yourself, and the people picked up on that. And look at the feedback the marketplace said how good you were, and the race announcers and the political people. I mean, you have to say, okay, yes, there's me, and I have my insecurities, and I still have my insecurities. But how does the marketplace see me? Am I providing real meaningful value for these people?
And in both cases, I replaced legendary figures. You know, that was a situation where they had made a name for themselves and people identified with them. So all of a sudden, here comes this Nicky New guy on the block to coming into these particular events. And now I was established as the veteran of those particular programs. But the thing about it is, it was all about what you just said, and that was I had an opportunity to be myself about something that I was passionate about.
Exactly.
So that's real important to people, and they need to realize that.
Well, and when it's something that you're designed to do, it becomes so easy for you. Public speaking for me, right? I remember when I was on a Toastmasters, when I first joined Toastmasters, it was interesting how people would take like 4 or 5 weeks to write a speech, and I would write my speech a half hour before I got off work at the post office because it's just something that's so natural within your skill sets. That's when you know your brain is wired to do it, when it's just something you can just do in your sleep. You know, it's like, yeah, this is easy for me.
And I had done some public speaking, and I remember being approached about going down and talking to a local high school. They called me up, and it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and they said, we were wondering if you could come and speak at our lunch. So I went there, and I had no preparation, nothing. I was like, what am I supposed to talk about? And they said, well, we just want you to say a few words about our school and whatnot. And I was like, and I was brand new in that particular area. So I just got up and I just started talking about little things about what it was like for me when I was in high school and this thing, that thing. And as you well know, I do impressions.
Yes.
So I did some impressions for the young kids at the time, and they just thought that was the most funniest thing and, you know, really, really done well and whatnot. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is great. Later on, after I was established and I had gone to college and whatnot, I was asked to be a guest speaker at Trinidad State Junior College. And so I spoke in front of a cheerleading entourage, or if you want to call it that, several different cheerleaders from different schools. And I remember going up there, and I had attempted to write out what my speech was going to be. I had 8 sheets of blank paper in front of me and presented a half an hour speech because I just spoke to them as a person about what was important from the heart.
Yes, that's the key word, from the heart.
I had nothing written down.
Right.
And I think that's what you're saying, is the fact that you had that ability. In those particular cases, I had that ability because it was something that I was speaking from the heart.
And that's one of the biggest things. One of the best books I've ever read on public speaking told you the entire synopsis in the title, Speak from the Heart. Boom, that's it. You speak from the heart, you live from the heart, and you have fulfillment. So we're going to wrap this up really quickly. So how do you discover what you love to do? What's the first thing we said? Write down on a big sheet of paper and some big marker, some color crayon, volunteer. Because when you volunteer, you get the experience. Is not only to find out what you love to do, but more importantly, like in your situation, when people tell you, hey, you're good at that. Hey, we need you back. We may be promoting you, encouraging you to run for a higher level office or something. So right now we got to wrap this sucker up. But again, YouTube, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Maxwell Maltz, Mary Kay Ash, Brian Tracy. Get on YouTube and start watching the videos. That's an easy way to get into this. You've got it on your phone right now, because every single day you've got to make sure that you wake up in the morning, you're watching a YouTube video, because you've got to do something or anything every single day to keep moving forward.
Yes.
You have been listening to Profiles of Success on Success Radio USA with Chuck Bader and Jerry Evans, brought to you in part by the 365 Grand Club, Colorado Springs' only elite urban downtown club. So start enjoying the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today at 365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. God bless you all, and see you next week on Profiles of Success. listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is committed to helping you achieve a positive daily approach to your success each and every day. Thank you for listening.